What is going on, Evan Nation? John Pemba here with James Grande. Welcome into the Fantasy Alarm MLB DFS Playbook Live Show. It is Friday. We have an 11-game main slate going on here today. Playbook by Henry Wilson is live over on Fantasy Alarm. You can check that out. Appreciate having you guys in the chat with us here today. Warren popping in already saying, hey. Hey to you as well, Warren. We have a lot to talk about. We have one game already postponed. I said 11 games. It's actually 10. Because it's snowing in Colorado. So Washington Nationals, Colorado Rockies, Coors Field off the slate. Kind of a good thing there. We don't have to really worry about that one. I have some interesting pitching matchups to target here today. We got narratives all over the place that Grande doesn't believe in. We'll talk about those.
We don't need to.
We'll look at some BVP numbers. We will get into today's main slate. Grande. Good way to end the week here after some interesting slates the last couple of weeks. JC, it's been a rough MLB week. Good pitchers performing badly, bad pitchers performing goodly. Not a real word, but I'm saying it anyways. That's been the week we've had here. So hopefully we can right the ship with guys like Yamamoto, Brian Wu, Logan Webb on the slate today, to lead us in the right direction. And maybe make us some money here today.
Money is good. I like money.
Money is the objective. I was not panicking. I had full confidence in the over of this Cubs Arizona Diamondbacks game. With the
what was the total?
9.
So the Diamondbacks themselves did that in the 8th inning.
Yes, they cleared it themselves. Yes, but it was 3 runs on 14 hits through like 6. And I was like, are we kidding me here? And then, all the runs, 2 grand slams in this game, 1 on either side with Ian Happ and Eugenio Suarez there. So, pretty wild ride. Warren saying low-owned Braves for all the money. Well, we'll talk about that because there's a min-price pitcher on this slate here today and a particularly bad leadoff hitter for Atlanta today as well.
I think you asked the question, would you play him, not assuming he would be leading off today?
I did. And now we may have to do so. So we'll break it all down.
No, we don't.
Break it all down for you guys here today. Let's get it started, though. We appreciate you all tuning in. You want to hit that like, that share, that subscribe button. Free way to support the work we do here over at Fantasy Alarm. If you're new to tuning in, we are going to go position by position, and we build the lineup here at the end of the show to get you guys ready to go. Jazz Chisholm suspended 1 game, but going to appeal and will play Friday. That news just came across a few minutes ago. Chandler Simpson, the fastest man alive, not in the lineup for the Tampa Bay Rays because they hate fun and they hate us. He probably wouldn't have been in the player pool anyways, as we found that DraftKings missing a few different players that were recently called up from their player pool here. So all that to get going. Yamamoto is your top price starter at $10,200. Then you have Freddie Peralta, Brian Wu, and Logan Webb in the 9K tier. When it came to ownership today, James, was there any surprises for you where the field was looking to go among these top pitchers?
A little. I mean, look, I think Freddie Peralta is a good pitcher, and I said it to you yesterday. I think Freddie Peralta is someone who misses bats, and there's usually ownership on any arms, especially on DraftKings, that misses bats. But I did not expect him to be 30% rostered.
Nope.
And highest rostered pitcher of the day. One, you have an athletics team that is just about league average offensively against righties. They're better than league average in terms of power. They hit a lot of home runs. And that one has to do with their ballpark. But 2, they just have a bunch of power in their lineup, right? Especially the top half. They have the league leader in home runs. They have a guy who hit 40 in back-to-back years. Lawrence Butler surged in the power department. So, they have power. But, they don't strike out against right-handed pitching. 17% strikeout rate this year against righties. It's not just Jacob Wilson aided. Obviously, having a guy who has 3 strikeouts this year in their lineup helps. But they don't just have a 17% K rate because Jacob Wilson is not striking out. That is a collective number. So a little surprised that Peralta is significantly higher owned than everyone else because he's not much cheaper than Yoshinobu Yamamoto.
Yep.
He's more expensive than Brian Wu, who's, going up against a team who doesn't strike out also, but is cheaper and is getting 1/7 the ownership as 6th the ownership as Peralta. Like what? Why does one look different than the other there? That confuses the heck out of me. So
yeah.
To answer your question, just bluntly, yes, Freddie Peralta's ownership surprised me a little bit.
Yeah, that was the one I was kind of referencing because we had talked about him. It was like, all right, yeah, like, a nice, strikeout, maybe pivot play on this slate or something like that. And then all of a sudden, no, not a pivot play, but the top price play. They did Atlanta, the Athletics dropped Jacob Wilson back down to 6. They have Day, and so we're like, come on, I thought we figured this one out already, where which direction we wanted to go when it came to Jacob Wilson here. He should be your 2-hitter and set up. No, they didn't do it. They went right back to the well and they put him down 6, which is whatever, right? We'll deal with that as we come across it. But I like Brian Wu at $9,200. I liked Logan Webb and his ground ball ability and ability to pitch deep in games at $9,000. And we've talked Yamamoto, right? Like at this point, Chicago, Philadelphia, then Chicago again. Detroit's been a pretty decent offense. Handled all of them. He's pitching deep into games. Sometimes we're worried about like Roberts and limiting pitch. Nope, 103 against Chicago last time out. Top price guy for a good reason here.
Yeah, he's my top arm. I'd spend the extra $700 to get to him over Peralta at that ownership, basically every day of the week in current matchups.
Yeah, I'm fully on board with that one there as well. If you look down at like the next tier of starters, the 8K range, David Peterson is getting ownership almost 20%. You have DeGrom, someone you and I were discussing the merits of. He's 15% owned here. Rasmussen, Rodon, and Abbott in that 8K range.
I don't get that ownership. And maybe I'm just missing something, but there's significant wins in New York blowing out. Significant wins, 20-mile-per-hour winds blowing out to left field. And we've done this dance with the Cardinals. Have we? We just learned our lesson last week. Yes, St. Louis has a bunch of lefties in their lineup. Yes, they don't look like they should profile well against lefties. They profile well against lefties. They're 5th in the league in OPS. They're 5th in the league in WOBA. They're 4th in the league in batting average. They're 11th in ISO. That's very good.
Yeah.
With 20-mile-per-hour winds blowing out. I mean, like, David Peterson's a very respectable pitcher, very solid major league arm. That's all not stuff that are stacked in a chalky pitcher's favor. So Another one that I'm just not on necessarily. I will gladly let the field play 15% Jacob deGrom as well against the best team or the most potent. I shouldn't say the best team because they're not right now. The most potent offense, because specifically their offense is good. Their pitching obviously needs some work to do if you're using Bobby Miller for any amounts of innings. Jacob deGrom hasn't been good against Seattle and Tampa.
Nope.
Do you know what those two things are not, John?
The Dodgers.
The Dodgers. That is correct.
And that's Tampa Bay, not in Tampa Bay, and that's Seattle at home. Like, Tampa Bay in the George Steinbrenner Field, a lot of upside. That ballpark, the power, the dimensions. Seattle, not good in a pitcher's ballpark, and he got hit 2 homers allowed in both of those starts.
Yeah, and like we talked about it on the show last night. The peripheral numbers for Jacob deGrom are not good, and it's lefties that are doing like all of the damage against him. Shohei Ohtani hits lefty. Freddie Freeman hits lefty. We can't just like, oh, well, they only have those 2 really powerful dudes. It's like, yeah, but that's not only those 2. That is one of the best players to like ever play the game and one of the best first basemen ever. So I'm out again. I'm against the field. I'm just going to fight the field off all day. I think, John. I think me and the field could not get along worse today.
I did the Prize Picks article today, and I wrote up DeGrom over 2.5 earned runs allowed was the demon play today. Generally, 2.5 earned runs is like the standard line for a lot of pitchers.
Sure.
No, the 1.5 was like his goblin, and they gave you 2.5 for his demon. And I wrote up, I'm like, this feels like a line more on reputation than production, because he has not been good these last couple of starts here. And sure, 3 hits allowed, 2 homers. Maybe there's, suggests that he was a bit unlucky with the home run to fly ball rate. But this is a Jacob deGrom that in years past, when healthy, nobody was touching the ball at all on him. It's been like 3 years since he's made more than 5 starts in the season. So he's 36 years old. This is not a 30-year-old in his prime Jacob deGrom. This is a Jacob deGrom of multiple arm injuries and rehabs and setbacks and all this stuff. And we noted his fastball velo's down a little bit. So I'm with you here. You're going to get the Dodgers lineup. Again, Prize Picks is obviously a little bit different than DFS, but they were giving you the demon boosted odds on the 2.5 earned. I was like, I'll take that today. And we'll see what happens. So, but this 8K tier is getting, some ownership today. It's like people, because it's 11 games, maybe they feel maybe a little bit conflicted on where to go. Rodon, 17%. We talked about that one. Probably just a pure strikeout play. Yes. He's been giving up a lot of runs, been giving up a lot of hits. He's been walking guys, but he's been getting an elite amount of strikeouts, and that has offset sort of the general. He's got 3 losses, and he's got 17 and 15 fantasy points in 2 of those 3 losses just because of the strikeouts.
Yeah, the Rays strike out 25% against lefties. So they're slightly better than league average in terms of OPS, but they're still a 679 team OPS against lefties. They don't hit for a lot of power against lefties. They're 18th, 123 ISO as a team. So yeah, you worry about the walks and you worry about the power with Rodon, at least to start the year, but the strikeouts are king. And that's why people are gravitating. Are you in agreement though? Like Rodon profiles way better than the 2 other guys in this range, right? Like
I would pitch Rodon over deGrom, of course. And
what about Peterson?
Yeah,
and Peterson too, right?
Yeah, listen, I doubted the lefty-lefty matchup last time against the Cardinals, and it did not work out well for me. And Donovan had 5 hits or whatever it was. So, I'm kind of with you there on the Rodon play. You work our way down. It's where we kind of hit the low 7s and 6K range, and there really wasn't much for us in this spot yesterday. We had highlighted maybe Hunter Dobbins just because White Sox and the Red Sox being big favorites today, but it's only 5%. Cade Povich is around 8%. Bryce Elders of 9% ownership here today. Bowden Francis is 10. I mean, are you playing any of the value in this range?
No on Francis for sure. We've talked about it. He looks pretty bad to start the year, especially in the power department. And we've seen Seattle is on a nice run of power since they left their stadium. Obviously, specifically Raleigh and Arozarena, but they're going to hit a bunch of home runs on the road per usual. Tyler Anderson continues to just be lucky. I don't hate the Hunter Dobbins thing. Just another ballpark that we have to contend with wind. There's 10-mile-an-hour winds blowing out to left center. I don't need any help on fly balls to left field in Fenway. Right, like using pitching,
left center is deep. Left center is like 4 something still.
Well, if anything is pushing the ball towards the green monster, it's not the best thing.
Sure.
But I could be sold on some Dobbins. I don't really put much stock in anything else. I think I'm pretty comfortable with like a smaller pitching pool today. Yamamoto, Wu, Webb, and then Rodon and some shots with Dobbins. And I don't, Michaelis is in the worst wind game of the day, 20 miles per hour. He's looked terrible. Not going to fare well in that one. I think JT Ginn looked really good. And you heard live on the pre-show, I was like kind of backing off on my JT Ginn hatred because he looked really good. And Milwaukee has so many lefties to throw at him, but like all the numbers in that first start suggest he was good. Even last year, he was good in his eight appearances.
Yeah.
Bryce Elder's not a good pitcher, and there's not a lot of strikeout stuff. Povich, like, I don't hate it because there's some strikeout equity attached to him, and the Reds just can't hit. So I guess I don't hate Povich as much as like 24% strikeout rate, 21st in ISO. Team OPS of 505 for the Reds, 28th in baseball. Like, that would probably be the other punt I would go with, but I don't love much else.
That's fair. I just want to pause a second just to comment on like just this game between Arizona and Chicago. D-backs scored. Cubs scored 5 in the bottom of the 7th. D-backs go score 10 in the top of the 8th, and the Cubs have 6 in counting in the bottom of the 8th. Back-to-back homers from Seiya Suzuki and Kyle Tucker.
Did you also Carson Kelly? Yeah, twice. Two bombs today.
Again, this game until the 6th inning was 3 total runs. It was a 2-1 game, Cubs Diamondbacks. And since the 7th inning, 21 runs have been scored in this game. So
insane baseball game.
Warren wants us to talk him off Tyler Anderson. I can talk you off Tyler Anderson pretty quickly here. Just go to Fangraphs and type in his name, and then look at the numbers that aren't his ERA. They're pretty horrifically bad. 5.74 walks per 9, 1.7 homers per 9 this season, a 70% fly ball rate. His 2.87 ERA looks great. He's got a 5.68 FIP, a 5.21 xFIP, and this is like the story of his career. He hasn't had a walk per 9 below 3.7 since 2022. That was like his sort of breakout year with the Dodgers. Even then, his 2.5 ERA, he had a 4.1 xFIP. 2 years ago, he had a 5.4 ERA. Last year, he had a 3.81, but a 4.85 xFIP. So, like, he's either going to continue to be very lucky, but even then, his expected ERA is closer to 4, and his fielder independent pitching stats is expected as 5.21. So just like very bad numbers. If you want to look at the Giants roster, yes, they strike out a lot against left-handed pitching. They don't walk a ton, but they have guys that hit for power against left-handed pitching. That lineup is certainly good enough with the additions that they've made. And those guys are starting to come back around. Matt Chapman's getting hot. We know Willie Damas is always liable to go and take one here. Lee hits everything, right? So Wilmer Flores hits lefties really well. I am not playing Anderson today. He's one of those guys where if he beats me today, then he beats me. Now, I've said that about a few different guys this week, and they have Randy Vasquez, Patrick Corbin, Jonathan Cannon, and so on. Today is not the day that Ty Anderson is going to go out there and pitch a good game against the Giants, I don't think.
No, I completely agree. Dude, they're 4th in ISO, to your point. They strike out a lot, for sure. And I get like that perspective where Warren's coming from. It's like, okay, we get a matchup against a team that strikes out a lot. I have a pitcher that gets lucky a lot. Maybe I dodge the home run ball, right? He's been lucky for 2 consecutive seasons. Dating back, he wasn't good in 23, right? The numbers actually said like kind of suck. But he was lucky last year, and he's been lucky this year. You said it, 56% fly ball rate is insane, dude, that we're getting away with this. So for a team that's 4th in ISO, if that's how many fly balls he's giving up, he's not getting away with it. Giants have 4.9 implied runs. That's the 5th highest on the slate. We've said this before. I'm going to say it again. The luck cannot continue, John.
Can't keep getting away with it.
He can't. I probably should have said it, but like, he can't.
I don't think he can either. Howard Bender says we can't talk about Chris Paddock today. But he's not hosting the show, so I'm going to bring him up. He's $6,000. Yes, this horrific White Sox start is really crushing a lot of his numbers. He wasn't great, obviously, against Houston. But Detroit, he held his own. right? Home start against Detroit, 5 innings, 1 earned, 5 Ks, 16 fantasy points. He's not this bad. He's probably, this might be his ceiling at this point, but we're talking about a Braves team that's leading off Alex Verdugo, that has Allen and Kelenic at the bottom of their lineup. They are getting Ozuna back, which is great. He didn't play that last series on the road. He flew back to get some testing done. Obviously good enough to be in the lineup. But like Matt Olson has struggled, Albies has struggled, Harris has struggled. If Paddock can just avoid throwing strikes to Austin Riley, he'll probably just strike him out. So I don't know. You tell me. Is it worth it all taking a stab at a $6,000 Chris Paddock today?
I mean, I know what you're saying. But like we're also like on the edges again of the lineup. It's like, well, top of the lineup and the bottom of the lineup stink. So all we have to do is navigate 2 through 6. It's like, well,
a lot of the guys 2 through 6 are also stinking right now. They're just obviously talented, more talented than they've been to this point of the season.
Obviously, the fly ball rates is scary for Paddock, 46%. Home run to fly ball rate, 16%. I mean,
but he's only allowed in that one game against the White Sox.
Yeah, a lot of walks. The walks have obviously 5.8 walks per 9, 5.7 xFIP. Sierra,
but again, I still think that some of this might just be very skewed.
One start to the dependent. Yeah, one start.
It's no, I know. We can, right. He hasn't been perfect, obviously, but the last start against Detroit was representable of a major league pitcher. So,
yeah, I mean the Houston start still pretty bad. 6 xFIP. 4.12 BABIP. I mean, that's kind of unlucky, but still 4.5 walks per 9. The last start, as you mentioned, 1.8 ERA, 3.35 xFIP. So he was better. So like, yeah, I mean, if you want to take a stab at a guy because you need salary at pitcher, I think a lot of these cheap guys look the same.
All right, let's go on over to catcher. Figure out where we want to go with this position here today. Adley's your top price guy. Langoliers is hitting cleanup at $4,500. Kyle Raleigh's been our man these last few slates. He's been uber chalk. Are you surprised at all to see people wanting to get some exposure potentially to Mr. Kyle Raleigh today?
No. The guy just is hitting home runs every day. You don't get this from the catcher position at 4,100 ever. So
I agree with you.
Bowden Francis elevated fly ball rate too. All fastballs. It's probably not a good spot for Mr. Francis today. It's going to be a tough.
I'm with you again. We generally like to find a cheaper catcher, but at this point, you can't fade what Rowley is doing. And this Mariners offense in general, when they're on the road, they've been hot. So. Yeah, I'd just click this button and live with the field. I think even the 15% we're seeing is probably going to be lower. Obviously, we play a lot of single entry. I would bet he's probably closer to 20%. But it wouldn't shock me if large field tournaments he gets in that range as well. Gary Sanchez is your punt chalk today. He's 11%. He's $2,100. He hasn't been good, but this is just sort of you're chasing a cheap home run in a righty lefty matchup. It's been a while since Gary Sanchez has been a viable fantasy player, but are you taking stabs here as just a punt play?
I usually just play El Gary when there's a punt situation. Andrew Abbott wasn't really good against righties last year. 229 ISO, 334 WOBA allowed. So, just continuing of like beat up on Andrew Abbott with righties, I'd be good with that. Garrett and to Sanchez credit, 212 ISO last year against righty. You are just simply punting for a cheap home run, and I like that idea if you're not going up to Cal Raleigh.
Anything else? I mean, obviously we only highlighted 2 catchers, but would you play anybody else at catcher today?
Yeah, I mean Jansen hitting 5th. Rodon, we've talked about it. Like as good as Rodon can be, he is also allowed home runs in every start, walked multiple batters in every start. So there's a pretty good price tag for Danny Jansen. Yanier Diaz, 3,300. Just simply a better player than a 130 hitter against a pitcher who, was terrible in the minor leagues and has had some good luck on his side in the major leagues. I don't hate that. I don't hate Matt Tice, $2,800 against Dobbins.
Yeah.
Put one in the wind, Matt. Get one out.
Our guy
center,
Justin Carlucci, in our team chat that we have here, Hunter Dobbins only allowed 2 total home runs last year in his 25 appearances.
Wow, 2 home runs, huh?
25 starts, 2 homers allowed. So
to you, Hunter
ground
Dobbins.
Ball extraordinaire, Hunter Dobbins apparently. So, and Worcester, by the way, big hitters park. It's a wind tunnel funnel to center field. All those Roman Anthony and Marcelo Meyer grand slams, wind dated, all of them.
So they're not. So those players are not going to be good at
probably
major league level.
At least that's what they'll tell you. Anything else here, Catcher?
No, Adley getting a lot of ownership if you want to spend.
Why spend?
He was really good against lefties
for Adley though. When Cal Rowley is $4,100.
He was really good against lefties last year.
Yeah, you're just like $1,000 more expensive.
I know. I'm just saying, 183 ISO, 388 WOBA. If Adley Rutschman has 5 hits in this game, hitting atop the order, you'd be like, oh, right.
I wouldn't say all right. I'd be very surprised if he had 5 hits today.
I'm just saying. I'm just saying.
I'd like it better if they were in Cincinnati. On the first.
On to Cincinnati. Oh, nice. That was a good.
I tried to.
That was a good one.
Ohtani, $6,400, very expensive. Alonso, Freeman, and Vladdy round out the 5K range. Where did we end up going? Did we play Olsen in the
No.
What did we do in the preview show? Was it Romy? Did we do Romy Gonzalez?
I think we originally.
We did Rayleigh. No, we did Rayleigh. We did Seattle Stats.
And then we went down to Luke Rayleigh.
Yeah.
We did originally have the Romy story stack, and then we pivoted.
This is very possible. Matt Olsen-Baum incoming. Very well. Could be.
Yeah, I mean, Chris Paddock might just be bad, right? Like he might have just lost all the sauce that he at one time had.
Sure.
Chris Paddock last year, 152 ISO to lefties, 200 expected ISO to lefties. This year, 188 ISO to lefties, 227 expected ISO. So anytime that number starts with 2, it's not very good.
Mm-hmm. What else we got?
I love Alonso. If Michaelis is going to pitch into this wind, he's been a bad pitcher to start. He's been a bad pitcher last year. He's been a bad pitcher this year. He was bad last year. 200 ISO to both sides. Like you can get a home run. You can get a home run. You can get a home run.
Yeah.
And now we're putting him in, obviously not the best hitters park, but anytime you start talking about winds blowing out to left at 20 miles per hour, this is the best hitter on the team right now, right? Undoubtedly, Pete Alonso's been the best Met, one of the best hitters in baseball across the board. So I like Alonso quite a bit. Obviously, you could play the Dodgers and no one's going to stop you. You want to bet against the chalk, play Tyler Soderstrom. He homers every day. He's hitting third again. Ben Rice, leading off 4-hit game yesterday, seemingly is the best hitting first baseman in the history of baseball. Soon to have to find a new position because who knows what is going to happen with Ben Rice when Giancarlo comes back, but they're going to have to play him somewhere. You could play Christian Walker, Yandy at 42, Mountcastle hitting 4th. First looks really good.
The Mountcastle one's a good one, right? Just historically really good against left-handed pitching.
Yep.
Sitting there at $3,900. Walker, again, another guy that has historically hit lefties really well, but he has been so bad this year.
Yes.
Difficult to want to even touch that. Wilmer, we know, among the leaders in RBI this year, has hit lefties always. Well, you have Romy. If you're a believer in the Cardinals and the wind and all that stuff, Wilson Contreras is 36. $100. He's kind of been struggling as well, but it's there for you. And then
signs of life, maybe from Contreras,
maybe a little bit, right? Still waiting for the power, but he had this little stretch here. And then we did Rayleigh last time the preview show homered. Just the Mariners offense in general is starting to kind of kick up a little bit here. Mariners offense when it comes to ownership, though, only Raleigh up over 10% today. So you're getting, Cal Raleigh, Luke Rayleigh at 9%. So,
dude, lefties against Bowden Francis this year, 317 ISO, 315 expected ISO, and he's like throwing like 2 pitches against them, and both the pitches are getting absolutely hammered. So, like, dude, maybe pitch mix should be switched up a little bit, right? Like, it doesn't make any sense, but they're going to keep throwing. If he's going to just keep throwing hard stuff against lefties, I mean, the Mariners are going to hit home runs today. And just as what it is.
I agree. Anything else at first base?
Obligatory shout to your favorite player in the league, Luke and Baker, hitting second tonight.
Yeah, Luke and hitting second. It's true.
Doubt it again, John. Doubt it again. Luke and Baker hitting second.
Are we getting rowdy? 2,100 lefty versus Bowden Francis.
I mean, if you believe the lefties against Francis, you can simply move Raleigh to the outfield to pave a path for Tellez. Tellez hitting 6 correlates pretty well with your Mariners stacks.
That's what I'm saying. You get a little Cal Raleigh, Luke Rayleigh, Rowdy Tellez stack.
It's a good and we haven't got the Randy in the outfield too. Sure. Randy's been awesome lately.
I was just talking about a big bunch of like bulky lefties.
Just big dude, just big mass, lefties. Yeah,
just total mass from the left side there.
Well, I have recently learned, and I feel like I did know this, that Cal Raleigh's nickname is the Big Dumper.
Yeah.
Had no idea that was a nickname, but someone thanked the Big Dumper's mom today on Twitter, and I was like, oh, okay.
I liked it. Second base, you do have Jazz scoring by the home plate system at $5,500. McLean is 53, Altuve 51, Terang's 5K as well there if you're looking at the top 4 price second baseman.
Yeah, we just got a Brewers lineup, and they're also going to start playing Caleb Durbin every day, which is interesting. Yeah, Terang looks good. Altuve looks really good. I honestly, they all look pretty good. Like, Jazz has been homering. That's your like get a jail card because he hasn't been great. But he hits homers and steals bases. McLean, back hitting atop the order looks good.
Not in the player pool, by the way.
I checked too. Hitting 9th, not in the player pool. He got called up like hours ago. So everyone at 5K and up looks great. Bregman looks great at 49. Westberg looks good. I don't mind Albies hitting 5th. It's another like really good position.
Yeah, like I said, Donovan obviously had the bunch of hits versus the lefties the other day. Christian Campbell against Martin Perez is 41. So you can definitely kind of plug. We liked Julian against Elder. We did have a question about pitching Elder today. I don't want to pitch Bryce Elder. Hasn't really been a great starter.
I don't know. I'm not there.
Brandon Rogers has always hit lefty as well. Espinal, as you kind of joked, hitting second against Povich, another guy that has hit lefties well in his career. They added him. He was not here yesterday, but they did finally add Luke Keyshaw into the player pool. We looked for him yesterday. He did not exist in the player pool.
We'll see. We have a Twins lineup?
I don't know.
I don't see one.
Well, excuse me. It'll be interesting to see if he's in the lineup or not. I would play the punt against Bryce Elder, $2,500 there.
Yeah, I don't see him. I don't see a Twins lineup, so
because you can get really cheap today with Lee at 25 and Keyshaw at 25 and play whoever you want.
Yeah, 25 is a good price. I wonder if they play him against the righty or they wait. I guess Castro got hurt, right? So I guess
Yeah.
they just depends on. That's probably why the lineup hasn't been released yet, because they're seeing if Castro can play. Or
I mean, I'm not sure the full obviously reason for it, but I would be.
Twins
Just came out, and he is DHing, hitting 8th,
right in
and
front of Brooks Lee.
Lee is hitting 7th. So you can do the 7-8 end of lineup stack.
Yep.
With Lee and Keyshaw, 2 top prospects in that Twins organization. So, and I told you this, he has to DH because he's coming off of a UCL injury, so he actually can't play the field.
Okay, it's good to know.
Yeah, but speed guy, a little power, really good contact hitter.
We know you love. We all know you love your contact hitters.
Yeah, they get on base. So I would give this a little look there. So, anything else at second for you?
Yeah, Tyler Fitzgerald, 34.
Sure.
Power guy, power speed combination against Tyler Anderson. I was actually looking at his StatCast page earlier, John, or his Baseball Savant. Just, yeah, I know you'd be proud, but it's really bad. But
yeah,
is power speed. We know he can go on these like crazy runs, and he's currently in one of those. We saw it last year, right? He went on a crazy run, and then he was just like mediocre baseball player, bad to mediocre rest of the year. But it is a really good spot. Julien is leading off at 3,200. If you'd rather play him than Keyshaw,
sure.
At least Julien has a slightly better track record in Major League Baseball.
Mm-hmm. We had the Jorge Mateo.
There
was a time in a place where Jorge Mateo was the best player in baseball. For that like 2 week span, he was incredible to start the year Wasn't it last year to start the year? I might have been 2 years ago at this point, but yes, there was a point in time where you couldn't not play Jorge Mateo. He was doing everything, and he was awesome. I don't think today's the day, though. A lot of speed, but that's about all he brings to the table at this point. So I'd rather play Chase Meadroth at $2,300 leading off for the White Sox.
Yep, probably.
Than Mateo there. All right, third base. Up we go. Machado against Gusto at 54. Daddy Bregman in the City Connect jersey, hitting third today at $4,900. Coming off the paternity list, wearing the yellow City Connect jerseys. There's extra juice added to that. Power versus lefties. Has the green monster. A lot to like about Alex Bregman here today. Your thoughts?
I didn't hear a single word you said.
Okay.
Yeah, I mean, he's been really good for the Red Sox. And there's wind that he's going to be hitting into. And this pitcher in Martin Perez is extremely lucky and has been getting extreme luck behind him all year long. I think Boston looks as good as basically anybody on the board. I think Boston
5.5 implied run total.
I think Boston, they look as good.
They are your chalk today. Romy Gonzalez is 20%, Bregman's 19%, Duran's 15%, Story's 15%. So City Connect jersey, Boston Red Sox are your highest projected rostered team today.
They look good. I mean, they look good other than those putrid jerseys that they're wearing.
Marathon jerseys? They're the marathon jerseys. So you have Bregman. Westberg, we know, hits lefties fairly well. Austin Riley's been homering a ton. If Paddock throws it over the plate, Riley's going to hit it. If he doesn't, he'll strike out. But you have that there. Devers isn't a $4,500 player.
No,
I get he's been struggling, and it's lefty, so things are kind of working against him. But they're back home. He's a better home hitter than road hitter by a wide margin this year. 444 average at home. So I don't mind playing Devers at 45. You called out Arenado. This whole range of Devers, Arenado, Chapman, Caminero, Paredes, and Polanco can all be plugged in the lineups here today.
All of them might homer tonight.
All of them very well live to homer.
I have no objections to basically anyone. I think a lot of it comes down to who you're stacking, because I think you brought up a good point. Devers is too cheap. I think Chapman and the Giants look great against Tyler Anderson and his fly ball rate. Obviously, like, you think about the Rays and you think about Rodon's home run issues, you're like, Junior Caminero, right? Like, obviously, that's a thing. Paredes hitting second is still too cheap for a guy who's coming off just a bad year last year and looks better already. And then Polanco, another lefty against Bowden Francis, where he struggles. So yeah, I don't think there's wrong answers. Even when you drop like kind of down further, I think Mark Vientos looks great. Mark Vientos seemingly starting to play better and is coming off a game in which he finally homered, hits in 5 straight, and now you're putting him in a ballpark that has 20. I've said it 100 times, but like 20-mile-an-hour winds blowing out to left against a bad pitcher. Like I like the Mets. I like the Mets.
Okay. The Mets Vientos is 8%. If you're not playing the Red Sox of Romeo Bregman, it's Chapman in terms of ownership, and Wilmer Flores. So you're deciding, are you playing Red Sox or Giants, basically, at the third base position. We mentioned, obviously, that you can play some value down here with Brooks Lee at $2,500. Anything else for you at third today?
Beatty is fine. Spencer Steer, 34 against Povich is fine, but Wilmer, 36 is a lot of RBIs, but nothing like too far down.
Third base, shortstop. Then we go here. Obviously, shortstop is a position that you can always look to spend up. The field is not spending their money though on Betts, Ellie, or a Gunner today. They're playing Trevor Story again. Red Sox getting a lot of chalk.
Yeah,
but Jeremy Pena also right there with similar ownership to Trevor Story today. What is it about Pena versus Hart that everybody's flocking to?
He's been really good against lefties throughout his career. Also, this year he had been hitting higher up in the order. Last year against lefties, Pena 172 ISO, 348 WOBA. That's really good. The year prior, 141 ISO, but 361 WOBA against lefties. So like pretty good track record for a young player against one specific split. 2023 or 2022, John, we're 207 ISO, 351 WOBA for Jeremy Pena. So like 3 consecutive years of just success. And Kyle Hart is a pitcher that, again, we kind of talked about at the top. This was a bad minor league pitcher that is pitching in a good ballpark, obviously. But like 310 ISO to righties this year in the major leagues, 261 expected ISO, so a little better, but still terrible. 380 WOBA, 375 expected WOBA, so terrible. I get the Houston stuff. Like they're really cheap. Like we just talked Paredes hitting second, $4,100. Pena hitting fifth, $3,600. Like they're super cheap against a guy that hasn't really proved to be a major league pitcher yet. So I like Jeremy Pena quite a bit.
Okay. Anybody else at short for you?
No.
Okay. Outfield, where you can spend your money if we're spending down at a couple of spots. You have Judge versus Rasmussen. You have Ohtani here. Tatis, who's been unbelievable. Soto gets Michaelis, you mentioned liking Mets here today. Jordan's hitting third, lefty, but he hits lefty as well. Chorio against Ginn. Altuve leading off against Hart at 51. So up and down this 5K tier, you can pretty much play anybody you want. I think Mike Trout would be the only one I wouldn't play today. I've said it out loud.
Yeah. It's fine. You can say what you want to say, John. This is your platform,
Jason Hayward just got scratched from today's lineup. I don't know if he was on this slate or not, so.
Yes. Yes, he is. Yeah, I mean, it's hard to if you want to play lone Dodgers, do it today. I think that's fun. You want to play Ohtani, that's fun. You want to play Tatis, that's fun. I think Jordan looks really good against anybody. That's fun in that lineup. Rooker's homering, playing the outfield. Not today, but playing the outfield sometimes now. Duran hits lefties, righties. He steals against everybody. Yeah, there's a lot to like in the outfield above 5K.
I agree with you. Hit in the 5K and mid range. Again, we liked some Seattle bats. There's J-Rod here. Duran leading off, even in a lefty is certainly still appealing. Tyler O'Neill with his like ridiculous fly ball rate against Abbott and his fly ball rate in that ballpark and the win. Could definitely see a home run from Tyler O'Neill today at $4,600. George Springer back in the lineup. Not that we're going to attack Brian Wu, but he missed 4 straight games. Back hitting 5th here today. Where are you going with the mid-range?
Where am I going with the mid-range? I mean, Tyler O'Neill looks fantastic. Lawrence Butler is a ticking time bomb. Anytime he gets hot, we've seen this for now 2 years. Like that guy has just a super high ceiling. Love Byron Buxton in tournaments. He has been hasn't been great this year, but does have some big games on his resume. So I don't mind Buxton. I don't mind Ozuna.
No, I was going to say, I think Ozuna may be the most mispriced player so far we've come across.
Yeah, this is a $6,000 player, right? Last year, last year he was $6,000.
He should at least be priced around 5K.
Yes.
Given the home run and batting, like everything he's doing this year, you're going to give him Paddock. He's missed a couple of games, so all of a sudden he gets dropped to $4,400 here.
Yeah, I look. If Chris Paddock is going to be bad, then the Braves are all mispriced, right? Because I don't think a single one of their players are 5K or above. And they are, every single player was 5K or above last year.
He's 5% roster today, Marcell Ozuna. I feel like we did this last year with a Braves team where like nobody's playing the Braves. We have to play. Not a single Brave is over 10%. Alex Verdugo is your highest rostered Brave today.
Yeah, I mean, that's price and lineup position, not because it's not talent. It's not offensive firepower that he is number one.
And they have like the 3rd or 4th highest implied team. They have an implied run total greater than the Dodgers today. So
food for thought there. That is, and it like being someone who lives in the South, like it's pretty warm. It's like going to be 80. It's like 80 degrees. It's going to be 80 degrees in Atlanta tonight as well. So ball is going to travel.
Mm-hmm.
I was trying to talk you out of Chris Paddock, and I feel like you've talked yourself from Chris Paddock throughout the show. So
83 degrees tonight in Atlanta.
Yeah, I am in. I think this mid-tier does like Ozuna has serious ceiling. Randy Rosarena has a serious ceiling. Brandon Nimmo has a serious ceiling. Helio Ramos against a lefty last year looked like Babe Ruth. Had like a 1,700 OPS at one point last year, 400 ISO. He looks great against left-handed pitching. There's a lot to like in that lower 4K tier. Like a lot to like.
Agreed. Work our way into the value range. You have some of these Red Sox plays. Michael Harris is down here. Bladays, again, it's Peralta, but he homered the other day at 39. Sal Frelick, $3,900 will be in that lineup today. Ref Snyder, Victor Scott's leading off today at $3,500.
Yes,
kind of an interesting spot for him there against Peterson. If you like that, Austin Hayes, $3,300, hits lefties really well, hitting cleanup 2 homers already since returning to that lineup. Our boy Gavin Sheets is hitting 5th at $3,300. Luke Raley can play here. Any favorite 3K plays or under today?
I like basically everyone you mentioned. I'd throw Jesse Winker in there, hitting 4th for the Mets today, $3,100. I've told you I'm in on the Mets.
Mm-hmm.
Luis Matos should be in the lineup for the Giants, 3K. He's fine. I don't love the Verdugo stuff at 2,800. He just didn't look like a good baseball player last year. It's probably not something that I'm going to get to, despite the price in the leadoff position. But I guess like depending on where your lineup takes you, like I get it. I feel like there's enough value elsewhere where you don't need to go the Verdugo route.
Right.
Like for 2,800, he's leading off. Wouldn't you rather wouldn't you just rather play $2,700 Cam Smith? Just like for upside? Isn't that like, I know I'm not saying Cam Smith has been good or not, but like
he can't be any worse than Verdugo has been.
I mean, Verdugo wasn't even good before his call up in the minor leagues, right? Like it's so it's not something that I am too fond of. And to Anthony's question, you're not on the Orioles. Yeah, the Orioles look pretty good. The one thing I'd say the Orioles like issues are 2 of their 9 players in their lineup are catchers, and they're playing like 5 lefties tonight.
Yeah, I mean, we mentioned Mountcastle, we mentioned Westberg, O'Neill, and Rutschman. I mean,
Gary as a $2,100 punt.
The only one we said we weren't in on was Mateo, in terms of like specifically saying not in on.
Yeah,
I said I would just rather play Cal Raleigh than Adley Rutschman given the price. Yeah. But
agreed.
You can play those guys. Shortstop, we just like the value. I mean, if you want to spend up for these guys, you can. No one else is, so you can do that. Ryan's playing Braves and Lindor. Do you like Peralta, Winker, or Rodon Ozuna? I'm going to go the Rodon Ozuna play. Doubled on upside with Ozuna there.
Oh yeah, I agree. Especially if you're playing Braves, especially if you're playing Braves, right? Like you're playing Ozuna for Braves.
Yeah, you have to play Ozuna if you're doing Braves for sure. So, yeah, that's where I'm at. All right, let's get a lineup built here, and we'll let the baseball gods do what they will from that point forward. All right.
Let's start at usually we've been working backwards. Let's start at pitcher today.
Okay.
So we like Yamamoto. Like we are firm there. Like we are team Yamamoto over the other 9K pitchers. If it's not Brian Wu, I think Brian Wu would probably be the only exception for us, but maybe Logan Webb too.
We might be able to double spend, honestly, if we're doing like the Twins value with like Lee and stuff like that. Like those guys are 2,500 each. Like we might be able to get like a Wu Yamamoto, and then get our little stack if we did.
Yeah, Boston's cheap. Boston's cheap as well. So
yeah, we're not going to be able to get Bregman in at this point, but like Lee was, or we could play a Lee at shortstop, I guess, if we wanted to do Bregman. All right, so this is 4,200 with Wu, and we do Raleigh, right? Third base, do Bregman. 4,150. We like Rayleigh.
Yeah.
And we have 4,400. That's Ozuna.
Randy or Rosarena, if you want to just do 3-man Seattle.
Sure.
He's been hitting everything.
And a $4,700 whatever we want. Just a one-off Tyler O'Neill in that spot for home runs.
For home runs. For home runs are glory. Anthony, that's a tough question. I would honestly probably say Ohtani if I was picking between the 3, but
yeah, I mean, I actually wanted to check this because we talked about it on the show last night. Yeah, nobody's playing the Dodgers today, so
Shohei's like sub 10%.
Shohei is 7%. Mookie's 2, Freeman's 1, Will Smith's 1, Teoscar's 1. Everybody is afraid of 2007 Jacob deGrom, who doesn't exist anymore. So, if you could definitely sack the Dodgers tonight and get through deGrom and get into that Rangers bullpen, and then really have some fun. I had no ownership in tournaments today, so maybe the $4.20 max is calling my name tonight, and we'll get some lineup exposure to everybody here. But again, we were in on Seattle this morning. We're still in on Seattle. Adding the value of Keyshaw and Lee helps you double spend up at pitching today with Wu and Yamamoto. Of course, if you wanted to go down off of Yamamoto and pitch, a Rodon today at $8,200, or Red Sox big favorites at Hunter Domids at 69. You certainly can go in those directions as well. But just giving yourself the opportunity to spend some money and spend some money elsewhere. So, if you did Rodon, that gives you an extra $1,000, get up to 57. Jordan, doesn't really change. I don't think too much for me. I think I'd rather just play O'Neill.
Agreed. Yeah, agreed.
All right. Guys, that's an example lineup. Again, Henry Wilson's got your playbook live on Fantasy Alarm. Appreciate you guys tuning in each and every day. You want to hit that like, that share, that subscribe button for us. You can get in our Discord and check out our playbooks for free with a 7-day free trial. FantasyAlarm.com/win. Promo code Let's Go. Gets that first month for $19.98 a month. Appreciate you guys again. We'll have the preview show on Sunday for Monday. We'll kick off a new week. We'll see you then.